Get to know Al and Simone Jones, entrepreneurs who transition from successful franchising at Great American Cookies while also emerging as podcasters with their new show, Jonesing for Success. Al and Simone Jones, welcome to the Chundria Show. How are you today?
We're good.
So my first question is, how long have you two been married?
We have been married for 15 years and dating for almost 25.
It'll be 16 years on the 1st of August. So
True.
I would say we've been married 16 years and we've been dating 25 years.
Yeah.
So
we were high school sweethearts.
Yeah.
Yeah. We met before I started our junior year and we've been together for the most part ever since.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. High school sweethearts. Okay. So when did entrepreneurship become a conversation in your household?
Ooh, well, to be honest, we always worked really hard for somebody else. I started out as a probation officer, went to human resources. He was in oil and gas. So we're putting in long hours, doing everything for everyone else. And then it's like we both would obviously come home and kind of complain about what we were dealing with. Like, man, we could go out and work for ourselves, put more work in, and keep a lot of the money. So I would say, realistically, probably around 2015. We were kind of like, you know what, it's kind of time for us to make the move, but we didn't know what we were going to get into. So we are very spiritual. We kind of prayed about it and God kind of led us to where we ultimately ended up and what we ended up doing.
Right. And, you've been together so long. We always talked about, our dreams and aspirations and, we've always talked about being owners and being our own bosses and, growing something that was bigger than us. So it's been in our conversation since almost the beginning. So.
That's true.
Take me back to your decision to buy that first Great American Cookie franchise, because you could have gone into a lot of business. You had a lot of options. You could have started from scratch, but you chose that one specifically. Tell me about that one.
Well, we knew that we wanted to go into a franchise because it'd be something that'd be a proven model that will work.
Yeah.
A support team that will help you if you should have a problem or not.
Right.
So we knew that was the route we were going to take. It was just a matter of figuring out what we wanted to do. So
we kissed a lot of frogs before we decided to leap into what we did. So we reached out to Chick-fil-A, as in everybody do, since they have a low barrier entry. And that was a process that was grueling that, we didn't want to take. And then so we looked into some local restaurants here that was for sales, like your Subways and your local pizza chains and stuff like that. And, fortunately, it never worked out. Like, it was always good on one end, but the bad always outweighed the good. And this situation right here happened. She has a sweet tooth and she loves Great American Cookie. And they opened one not too far from my house, and it was open maybe a few days, and it's got a
let's say this. I went into the store, correct. And so the owner was they had a line out the door.
They did,
which was great, right? So the owner was young, so it was like, oh, okay, you just had a feeling. He had a black shirt on when everybody else had on a basic T-shirt, so you knew he was in management or at least an owner. I assumed he was an owner. Striking up a conversation with him, he was the owner, so it was like, this is cool. I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, anytime we see people excel, we look at it as your motivation for us. It's always like, man, if you can accomplish it, we can do it too. So it was like, okay, this guy's pretty young. This may be something we can do. So he stays in the car.
Yeah,
he does not eat sweets. So
I do now, unfortunately. Oh my God.
But he didn't at the time. So he's seeing a line of people come in. So it was kind of like we kind of clicked for both of us. I got in the car. I was like, hey, man, the owner is pretty young. Do you see the line that they have up there? He was like, hey, man, I'm seeing this line.
See the line. And I'm already on Great American Cookie Marble Slab's website and looking at the criteria, what they need to open. And so, we match pretty much everything they had. It's a lot different now. That was almost 8 years ago. So we matched everything they needed. And so, we pondered on it. We talked about it.
We prayed about it.
We go on evening walks every day. We did then. And we'll go on an evening walk. And part of our walk is, talking about life and, what we want to do and how our day was. And this kept coming up. And so that next Wednesday, I woke up with it on our mind. She came in like, hey, what are you doing? And then she was like, oh, yeah, let's do it. So we reached out. And
by 5 o'clock, which is really crazy, and from what we were told is unheard of, they called us that day.
Yeah.
We were coming in from bringing groceries.
They actually emailed first, and we didn't respond quick enough, and then they end up calling.
Yes. So we spoke with the at the time she was over the development of new franchisees. She's no longer with the company, but she's really amazing. So she was just kind of telling us that, well, when we were talking to her, she was like, well, there's really not a location in Houston. And we knew we didn't want to move. We wanted to stay. We have a home here. We didn't want to leave. So we're like, well, we're not interested. Thank you. We appreciate your time. If everything ever comes up in the Houston area, just feel free to reach out with us. We'll always be interested. We feel like this is a good fit for us. And during that conversation, she was looking at the listing. She's like, well, wait a minute. I have a location. And so there is a street that's not far from here that if you're from Houston, you know how to pronounce it. But everywhere else, they'll butcher it to death. So the word is Kirkendall, but everybody else is like Kikendall. When they see it, they like,
it don't have an R in it.
No, it just looks, no one pronounces it right that's not here. So we were like, when she said Kiken, I literally said, well, take it. It was like, that it's 5 minutes away from our home.
Literally.
And at the time, we were in a kind of a new developmental area. There was nothing out here. So you had to go about 20 minutes to get to either direction to get to two major locations. In terms of traffic in a metro area.
Shopping and all that type of stuff.
So we needed something out there like that here. So we met with the what was Tim's title at the time?
He's sales.
He was the director of sales.
Correct.
He actually lived in Houston, so he was like, I can meet with him. We met with him about 2 weeks later. Mm-hmm. We sent in our financials, our everything to verify that we could actually be franchisees, at least on paper. And then we were officially added as franchisees about a month into the game, right?
Yeah. But they sent us, we had to do our due diligence also. Yeah. So they sent us the FDD, which is the disclosure agreement. They sent us the contracts. And each one of these pages, I think the FDD was like 200 pages long. The contract was like another 60 pages. So we actually had to send that to our lawyer and all that type of stuff. But the process, with all of that, it took about a month, and we were signed up and ready to go.
But even with that, right, we still wanted to make sure it was a fit for us in addition to praying. So we asked them to allow us to give us information for franchisee in the Houston city area and the surrounding areas. Yeah. So we wanted to meet with a low-level performing franchisee, a mid-level, and a high-level. Correct. Because we wanted every one of their opinions, because you didn't know what you're going to get. God willing, you're successful, but you just wanted to meet everybody along the way. So we sat down. They were so gracious. They talked to us over the phone. Yeah. We went to a lot of their locations, and we kind of felt like after seeing it, and we know what we would do. Correct. We felt like this was the great match for us. And that location that she had mentioned, actually the franchisee who was like the main franchisee who really revolutionized the game, he actually had that agreement, but he passed on it because they wouldn't give him a drive-through. He wanted a drive-through, and they're like, cookies can't have a drive-through. So he gave up the location, and it passed to us. And so all the major players who are in the cookie industry, they didn't want it, because they all lived on a different side of town. They didn't see the potential out here. Correct. So sure enough, it went to us because we do live in the area. We knew what the potential would be. It took us about a year to open the store.
Correct. Not on our end, but the shopping center was being built also.
Because once again, new development.
And we built out, and we opened the store in May of 2017.
Yes.
And
we were the first food establishment in that shopping center.
In that area. And it quickly becomes the number one store within Great American Cookie Marble Slab, the co-branded store. So
you go from owning one of them to four of them. Were they all in the same?
So let's tell you that story too. We actually had 4 agreements before we even opened one. Correct. My wonderful, ambitious husband made sure that happened.
Well, and she was fighting me tooth and nail. Yeah, no, we're not ready.
Because he's Mr. Go, and I'm like, okay, let's see how it plays out. I'm like steady. I'm more of the cautious one. So he, at the beginning, we inquired about one. He's like, hey, you need to inquire about more locations. I'm like, wait a minute, we ain't even opened up one now. We got to see what's going on. But fortunately enough, we had a location that we liked that wasn't too far from there. They sent the guy that was head of construction to review it. Because at first they told us no, they didn't think that was going to be a location. It was too close to a mall. And so once he came out, he saw it. He's like, no, you won't tap into their customer base. So then I want to say by December, she called us back and was like, okay, we can give you this location, but basically you got to take 2 of the locations too.
Correct.
So we were like,
so we took another 3 locations, and they gave us a year in between each.
They did.
So we had to figure out how to get from one to 4, and we haven't operated any.
No experience.
In, less than a year. And so as soon as we got our first store open on May of 2017, not even a week later, they're calling me, hey, have you found the location for your second location?
Yep.
So we're like, we're barely running this one. When I say when it opened, and we were working from like 7 in the morning to like 2 in the morning the next day, because we didn't know how to operate efficiently. Our employees didn't know what to do.
We were sending these kids home as soon as it closed, as opposed to staying and cleaning up. We're staying and cleaning, doing everything, prepping for the next day. Like we
making ice cream.
I mean, we literally didn't know anything.
Cookies.
We didn't know. We decorating cookie cakes. We were doing it all, because we have to say one great thing that we did. We had the sign. As soon as we can get the sign up, or the signage up, we did. So it was up pretty much the whole time we were construction. So people were seeing it and driving by, and we're like, when is it open? Right. When is it coming? When is it this? When is it that? So when we opened, actually, so the when you open, they have they send people down from corporate, which is a great thing, right? Yep. So they had a financial business consultant come in. So that Friday that we opened, technically, he had told us we were going to open at 5 p.m. So the first customer, we had the doors open, walked in, which was our pastor, but the second customer came in with him.
It was literally our pastor.
And he was like, are y'all open? And so the business consultant was coming from the back, and he was like, I turned around and looked at him. He goes, why not?
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm type A. You told me 5 o'clock. We still had a million things to do, but we were open. And when I say those customers just boom through the door. So we were working so hard that by week 2, we would have sold it for a penny. We were so tired.
No, we were literally burnt out.
We were.
And we called our franchise business consultant and said, hey, we're doing well, but we need some help. And they sent somebody local in, another consultant, and they talked to us for a little bit. And then the next week he flew down, and I was out on the bench, like
defeated.
Have you seen that meme of the Popeyes worker after the chicken sandwich came out, sitting out back? That was me.
This was him, literally like this.
That was literally me. And he pulled up. He just bust out laughing, like, hey, this is what you asked for.
But he came in and he stayed for about 45 minutes, and he gave us a pep talk.
Yeah.
And then after that, we honestly, that night we went home, we looked at each other, and we said, you know what? Like I said, we worked our butts off for everybody else. This is our opportunity to not only learn this industry, but do it better than anybody that we can think of that we know have done it. Yeah. And so, to be honest, we didn't see our corporate for 6 months, but in that 6 months,
it wasn't until the next year.
Honestly, it was January at the top of 2017. We learned how to do it, and honestly, at the time, we were killing it. We were top 2. We were always either 1 or 2 competing with all the stores nationwide. And we learned how to do it. We took everything we did and we replied it, and
number 1 in Texas.
Number 1 store in Texas.
So our first 30 days, I mean, we're selling cookies and ice cream. A cookie is like $1.79 at the time. Ice cream was like starting out at like $3.99. And we also had cookie cakes, which that's the biggest mark.
It was $29.99.
So our first 30 days in revenue, we did about $95,000 in sales, which is crazy selling cookies.
And even then, we couldn't even fathom these numbers. Like, if we're selling cookies and ice cream, right? It can't really possibly, as long as we can somewhat match what we were making in corporate America, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But it turned out bigger than our wildest dreams. It really did.
It did.
Now, you were doing really well for yourself. So I know it came as a shock when you made the decision to sell all 4 of the businesses. Are people still like not over it?
The first thing you hear is, what? Why would you do that? Why would you? Even our corporate was like that. We had a great rapport with them, and they all called and talked with. Some people came and visited us and were like, this doesn't make any sense. Why are you doing it? But
and we still have a good rapport with them.
We do.
So. But we had, we prayed and we put our faith in God through everything and anything, but it was just like the perfect storm for us to get out. One is, we was running the business is great from our aspect, but COVID hit. And
even with that, we thrived in COVID.
We did.
The first 2 weeks we had an amount, which I'll say, we always felt like each store had to hit $800. Like that would be cool. And it always did. I think one day at one of the locations did not. And at that time we had 3 stores when COVID happened. But after that, you would never know. Business just went crazy. Everybody still wanted to eat their dessert.
Back we're still at home though.
Yeah, we're still at home. So it didn't affect us. But the thing is that in our case, we did expect and demand a lot, but also too, we were in an industry where you're going to have a revolving door of employees. That's just part of it. And we could never get our team. I would say our management team, there will always be something come up because you love them, but you're dealing with 20-something-year-olds and at the end of the day. And of course, they have to do what they have to do. So we just couldn't get our management team, a bigger management team together. So we always had to be in the store. And that's a big part of why I was so successful, because we were so hands-on, but we didn't have a life and we were okay with that. No children, no nothing. And then at the top of 2021, we found out we were having a daughter, and that just kind of changed it. And to make a long story short, I ended up having COVID when I was pregnant with her. She was born at 28 weeks when I was in a medically induced coma. And I didn't know I had my child until after I woke up. She was in the NICU for 2 months. I was in the hospital for a month. I had to learn how to walk again. And so even when I was up, I hadn't met my daughter yet. I got up and could barely, once again, I couldn't walk. I could barely type, but I'm worried about my stores. Because when I went down, that's the period I find out if staff are to leave, summertime. So are they going to leave or they're going to stay? So 3 out of the 4 of our stores only had 8 employees. We can't function with 8 employees. Yeah. So, and even in the midst of it, this man is stressed and worrying about his wife and his child. And he actually had COVID too. And he has to worry about the way the stores were running. So that's when we knew, you know what? It still took some time for me, but we knew we needed to change it up because it was just so demanding on us. And we hadn't even opened up our 4th location yet. We had. We've been open for a couple of months. So it was just that was literally the thing. We prayed on it. And honestly, if we could have gotten our management staff the way we wanted to, we would probably still have them. But when she came along, we just thought it was the best for us to venture into another industry.
And she glazed over it pretty quick.
I did.
But she almost died. Like, she was literally on her deathbed. Our baby was on our deathbed. She actually coded a couple times. And so we couldn't continue on the way that we were with just me and her, and also having to have another baby. So we decided to sell 2 stores at first. So we sold those 2 stores. Life got somewhat normal. And then, we just kept hearing this voice and going through stuff like asking God, like, hey, are we doing the right thing? This is after the 2 stores are sold. What do we need to do? We're following the steps that you laid before us, and ask like, hey, should we sell? Well, one of our main managers put in her 2 weeks notice.
Who was supposed to run all 4 of our locations?
And so we was like, hey, is this something, God? Are you trying to tell us something? If it's so, let us know. Give us some signs. If not, we're going to continue to, push on throughout that.
So the month was May of 2022.
May is always the busiest
month. The busiest month. You have graduations, you have Mother's Day, you have Memorial Day. So it's unpredictable, but it is always going to be your busiest month. And everything that could have gone wrong
after
that month.
Prayer,
everything wrong. But it was the most successful May we have ever had in our previous 5 years. Like, it was crazy, but it still was the hardest month. And then our daughter had 2 major sicknesses during that time frame. We had air conditions broke down at the same time.
At the same store.
Man.
We got big ovens in there.
A flood at home. Everything just
pipe busted at home. So we literally was like, you know what? We here.
So he was like, I'm done. I was like, I can't get more money down. So that was like, I think I can't. I'm not there yet.
And you were never over it at the same time? You were never over it at the same time?
But she got on board. But I would say that summer after that, it was so smooth. We didn't have to work at all. We didn't have to.
No, that fall, because I still trained all summer.
Oh, I didn't work.
I did.
I was done. I'll go pick up some stuff, and we didn't have to work. We didn't have to really work a shift. I'll go pick up stuff from like Sam's or our local food depot. And
I was still doing all the training. Like I said, I came from HR with that. So I trained it. Every week, one store, I trained this store in one store, and it would last 4 days. So which is not bad. You go in for 4 hours, 5 hours, you go home. It was really good. But in the fall, I turned it over because I'm like, you know what? I can't, the kids are back in school. I'm not going to be here at night training. I want to focus with my daughter. So that's when we literally would just chill and chill mode. And then our staff started acting crazy. they just could not get along. And it was like, why are y'all, and literally the management staff at this particular place has been working together for 3 years. So we were like, why are y'all fighting like crazy? So that's when we kind of were like, you know what, let's just go ahead and just mosey on it.
And not only that, the price of everything went up.
True.
Because, COVID had an insane effect on our inventory, our supply chain.
Cost of goods.
The customers, they went from, understanding to, I pretty much own you. You work for me.
You work for me. You bought a $3 cookie for me, and I own you. And it was like, oh, no. And see, I'm a lot more feisty than my husband. So I had to politely have to let some people know, like, no, you do not. You're not going to come to my store, disrespect me. You can leave. We can refuse service. Because some of these people.
I have a question. It seems like you all, I read that you all became master cookie decorators. Is that something you're still doing?
He became a master cookie decorator.
I will honestly say,
what happened to you?
I was all right.
He was good.
But that was the least of my worries. So one of the things about being married, working together, we had to define roles, because that first year we were at each other's necks. So we had to define the role. I'm inventory, I'm operations, stock, whatever you need to, make sure everything was service, all logistics.
And I deal with the human resources and the day-to-day
cake decorator.
Yeah.
And the cake decorator.
So I did ice cream cakes. I was pretty good at ice cream cakes.
Okay. It just kind of, because we had to, like, at the end of the day, my biggest thing as we went into it, I was like, look, even though these people are paying $30, they're still paying for it. They want Picasso's on products. I want Picasso on products. So I want to give people what I want to get. So it was just like, I always could draw, hadn't done it in years, but it was like, got to turn it up, got to learn how to do it. So that was literally what had to happen.
She can email you some pictures and stuff like that. Like literally stuff she's done. Oh, it's amazing. So
I miss that part of it. I do miss that.
I bet you do. Yeah, I bet you. Not to present day, you're educating other people, right? That's your mission now.
So that's our goal. A lot of people don't understand like how to get into franchising and why, and how it's a fit for you. So that's our goal, is to start to educate people on that, and to let them know that, like, hey, you don't have to start something on your own. You can go and get something somebody had already started and build it and create it and make it your own, but you still has a guideline and the helps, the help behind you to do so.
And also picking what's right for you, because I think a lot of potential people are trying to franchise out their business. And so I'm not going to say, there's a lot of shadiness going on out there too. I'm not saying we're the best, but a lot of the times the franchises that we've seen that we haven't been successful, we've literally been able to look at them and be like,
no,
it's not going to work out.
It's not going to work at all.
And it doesn't work out, so it's just, and the fortunate thing enough, corporate thought enough of us, because they would always they'd have new people always call us and to give us our experience and talk to us. So we were always honest with it, because I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to sell you a pipe dream. That's their job at the end of the day. That's not my job. My job is to give you the reality of what I went through. And if it works for you, great. But we wanted to give you the great side of it. And we also want to tell you the things that weren't so successful. So like you said, and when we started the process, we did that franchisee that we went to a store. He was so instrumental in helping us. So it's like he from helping us build out our store to telling a format that worked a lot. He was so helpful to us. It was like we owe it not only just to him, but to ourselves to be that people to help somebody else, because it was so instrumental. Because we've been dealing with talking to different franchisees and different with different franchisors, and their experiences have not been like that. It's been crazy. So it's like, what, this is something that we have a semi-expertise on. So anything we can do to help somebody else out, we really do want to do.
Yeah. I love the energy that you all have, your chemistry together. You can tell you've been together for 25 years. You're finishing which brings me to my excitement about your podcast this fall. Let's talk about Jonesing for Success and what you expect for your listeners. What will they get?
So we expect them to see us like you have some people that you can see and you'd be like, I don't know if I don't know if I can believe what you're telling me. But we expect to for people to see us and understand that what we're telling them is our experience that we had, and to let them know that all experience is not going to be, I wouldn't say as successful as ours, but you can also build that to be successful in your own way.
And I think also too, we want them to understand and hopefully see us as authentic.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people. The funny thing is, I really don't even do podcasts. I go through him, but it's like
I don't even do social media.
Yeah, but when I have, it's like I just want to feel like at the end of the day, can I trust you? You know what I mean? I'm watching you and you're telling you this. Can I trust that the information that you're providing me is legit, as opposed to you trying to hustle and make $1 off me?
Right.
And I'm not saying that, of course, that will come, but it really is instrumental, and especially with people that look like us.
Correct.
To try to help them give a base to start out on their path. And, if we can help guide you in any way based off our experience, that's what we want to do. Because it's tough out here, so anything we can do to help out. And it's in our will to do that we can do, we want to do, honestly.
So will there be topics or
it will be, it's going to be topics. It's going to be us building in public. Also our next venture, which is going to be the podcast, and also we're delving into real estate. So we bought some property. We're going to be building in public, like from giving you all the information that we have and all the things that we're going through, and
which is good and bad.
Good and bad. And we're also going to, make sure we show you a finished product, whether we, get to the finish line or not. We're going to have guests on, people from the franchise industry that's doing it, and, different franchise ease. And we're also going to have different like consultants within the industry also that can tell you different information. So we're going to have a wealth of knowledge coming through our podcast and coming through whatever we got going on.
And then the last one, tap into relationships, working with your spouse if you happen to do that, because that can literally break or make your marriage. So just give them our experience of what we had to go through and what we had to learn, and hopefully save them some of the bad stuff.
And we're also going to have our professional side of people come on, as in our CPAs. They're going to come on and explain the difference of what you need to do with your money and how you need to do it. We're going to have our lawyer come on and, explain what you need to do when reading contracts and how to break it down in layman's terms.
Leases.
So
it's a lot of stuff.
We have a wealth of knowledge because we literally built 4 stores from the studs and negotiated all the contracts.
Picked the location.
Dealt with all the vendors, set up, vendor contracts and credit cards, and
staffing.
We're gonna break down a lot of stuff,
products.
And it's gonna happen over time because we have we can go on for days, but we have to break it down over time, and it's gonna be with us. It's probably gonna be with us maybe two episodes, and then the third one we'll bring somebody else. Then it'll be so we're trying to construct that out right now, but it's gonna be good, I think.
I want you to have a show on HGTV. I see it.
Man, that's what I want. That's what I want.
So I'm not gonna say
Egypt. What's her name? Egypt Sharon and her husband.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it. I see it. I feel it.
I think we're gonna do that on our own for now to be like a little YouTube show. But that's something I can see. But I really like her there. Me, I think I'm more of a background guy. But
you're gonna be right there with me. I
know we have to start somewhere, and because I'll be honest with you, this right here is hard for us because we're used to our privacy. We used to being able to do whatever we want.
We're not flashy.
Keeping all of our
we're chill
knowledge and resources to ourselves unless you ask. Because we don't want to be those pompous people that are like,
you think you know everything.
I know everything. I can teach you how to. No, we're not that. We can show you what we done, and we can tell you how we done it, and hopefully, that shows through, and you'll be able to take something from it and use it in yourself.
I appreciate your transparency, and you touched on something about like balancing work and life and how can break your marriage. But for any couples out there, I think I'm married. I think that your spouse makes a great business partner. What qualities or traits do you think makes an ideal business partner in your spouse?
I would say someone who is tenacious, someone who is consistent, someone who is dependable, and someone who can handle criticism. Because at the end of the day, sometimes you got to tell your spouse, hey, that's not cool. And, where it doesn't feel too much in your marriage, because I always told them, like, when we started out when we work for somebody else, we come home and vent about other people. Now I want to come home and vent about you. So how do we make this work and switch this off where You know what I mean? And then also too, the most important thing.
Let me tell you what you did today.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Pretty much.
I know.
Pretty much.
And one thing we honestly said we never did, we never brought any of our personal stuff to work. Our staff would not know. There's some days we want to murder each other. And we go in there, put on a smile, because if we weren't together, they wouldn't be together. You know what I mean? So that was always very important with it. I can cuss them out before I walk in that door, but they would never know that. And that happened too now. I'm not even gonna lie. That did happen.
It has. It has happened. A time or two.
Or
but and everything that she said. But also they got to have the work ethic. I mean, you can't force somebody to want to get up and do anything.
That's so true.
They got to have the willpower to do so. They got to have the trust in you, or the opposite. Your spouse, that you're going to get the job done regardless of what happened.
True. And
we did that. I mean, it's been days that she's been there at 2, 3 in the morning decorating cakes. I'm at home sleep. I'm out. Like, hey baby, make sure you're good. Make sure the door's locked. Cut the alarm on, anything like that.
And then sometimes you had to learn you didn't want to get beside that, cut them open because you were up at 2 o'clock and you sleep. So
And then on the opposite end, I may be there at 6 o'clock in the morning.
And I'm
some inventory, and she's at home.
I'm sleep.
So it's that balance and the give and take. And when we come home, I mean, we'll talk about it, but then we say, hey, that's enough.
We let it go.
Yeah. We can't talk about all these employees that ain't acting right today.
Because sometimes I want to.
So exactly. So
I have enjoyed this conversation, but before we go, I have a few lightning round questions for you.
Let's do it.
All right. Number 1, are there any quirky or funny habits you've noticed about each other when you're in business mode?
My husband has isms where he comes in and says these lines, and our staff literally, when we sold, listed his. He walks in, yellow. What are your? So literally, they made about 10 of them that literally are Al isms. So he's just.
They made a list of things I say, and they know what I'm gonna say, and the way I act. I mean, it's all good.
Consistency.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. I think some of hers it's not even a quirk. But it's just an innate habit, that innate person that she is. She always treat all of them like they're her kids, and they treat her like she the mom.
They were my babies.
Exactly. And so, we're young, we're 40-ish, and they'd be like 26, 27, talking to her like they like their mom. So
I was a therapist.
Yeah,
I was
definitely. And that, and man, I'll be like, I don't even want to hear none of that.
He walk in, I'm going out.
Yeah. So I think that's it.
Those are good ones. Number 2, what's each of your all-time favorite cookie flavors and why?
Oh, this is very important to me. A fresh chocolate chip M&M cookie takes to a whole new level.
I was gonna say hers, whatever comes out the oven fresh. Mine, I don't. If I do one,
you always got ice cream. You would get ice cream, vanilla with Oreos.
But I'll take it straight out the machine, because I made the ice cream. I didn't like it after it was frozen. I mean, it still tastes great, but fresh out of the machine, oh my God, it was so good. So I'll give me a little cup, and I'll put me some Oreos in it, and I'll eat it. So yeah,
look what you did, Simone. Look what you did.
Yeah, man. So I got chocolate peanut butter with some Reese's on top.
Yeah.
And some chocolate syrup.
This man didn't even eat sweets. You did, huh?
Look what you did to me, eating sweets.
I did. I love a sweet. I love a sweet.
All right, number 1. Next one is, when traveling together, do you prefer planned itineraries or spontaneous adventures?
Both. So we went on for her 40-ish birthday.
I was 40. I turned 40 last year. I'm not offended. I turned 40 last year.
Her birthday was yesterday, so she turned 41.
Happy birthday!
Thank you.
So when we traveled, we went to Europe last year for.
So I wanted to do an Eat, Pray, Love for my birthday. So I was like, you know what? Our daughter and I wanted to do the Greece photo shoot, because I hate taking pictures. I don't like social media. I do all that. Yeah. But I was like, you know what? I'm 40 years old. I feel like I should be able to be authentic enough to be able to stand to look at myself in a picture. So I did the dress shoot, and it was just such an amazing journey to go with them and to see how a different culture lives. Because I mean, all that fancy stuff is crap. I love to see how other people live. So to actually be able to go to Europe and see, he didn't want to go, but he went with me. That's love right there, because he didn't want to go. But it was.
But I want to go back next year.
Yeah, exactly, right. But it was so amazing. So we went to Italy and we went to Greece, and it was just the most serene, beautiful thing that he could have ever allowed. I always say I want to appreciate that was one of the outside of our daughter, that was one of the best gifts he could have gave me. Mm-hmm. So, and it was just cool. So I would say that.
In our itinerary, 1 or 2 days, we did nothing. We'll travel around the city and go off the cuffs. And then the next day we'll schedule a tour or we'll schedule a food tour.
It's like we like to have scheduled days, but we like to have a day to just relax and unwind too. So it's like we get a mixture.
That's it.
That's it.
Last one. What's one shared goal or dream you both have for your future, either personally or professionally?
You know what? We want to build generational wealth, and I know people say that, but it's so important because anything
that's a buzzword.
And it is, but it really is. But I think the key thing is just to be able to build it with other people that we care about.
That's it.
Like that, because we do pretty well now. We fortunately enough, we haven't had a job or even an active business in a year. But it's like just to be able to take our best friend, because we have the same friends that we've had for our whole relationship. Mm-hmm. So to be able to put them on and to give them situations where they could be like that and to build for their family, that's our goal. Like that's our hustle right now. We setting our daughter up. We're going to make sure she's good, but we want to include the people that we love the most outside of our family.
And to piggyback off what she's saying, that's exactly it. Because don't get us wrong, our friends and family is doing well.
It ain't broke, by no means.
Yeah, they're not broke.
But they have to go to a 9 to 5 every day.
They don't have the freedom, or they don't have the they don't have the freedom that we have.
Because wealth is freedom. At the end of the day, to be able to pick and choose things on your term is such a limited thing that most people don't have the option to do. So, loving these people, we want them to be a part of that as well.
Yeah. And we're financially stable. They're financially stable, but it's, it's different levels, unfortunately, but fortunately. Yeah. And, to make sure our daughter is good, not only financially, but morally and ethically.
And we're able to, as you said, we're here. We're able to really be here. Like she gets both of us all the time.
She done yelled a few times since we've been
Sorry
here.
about that. We get the best Wi-Fi close to the room. So she literally, normally she sleeps, but today she want to act a fool. So forgive us for that.
So we're trying to raise her to be grateful and thoughtful and knowing that she could have,
but we're able to be here because for both of us, our parents had to work. They had to do what they had to do to put food on the table. So, the fact that, every day, I go pick her up, I drop her off, he's here. So she gets all of that. She gets an experience that, to some degree, neither one of us got. So that's the advantage that it's provided us to be able to do. And it's such a blessing.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, Alan Simone Jones, I want to thank you for being my special guest here on the show.
Thank you for having us. You've been amazing.
What's the best way to follow your journey online? I know you're not on social media, but how can we keep up?
No, I've been on there about 3 months.
I don't know my handle, so please don't get the lie. I don't know.
I've been on there 3 months. On Instagram, I'm known at Al Jones ENT.
Okay.
So
well, if you get to his page, you can find me because I comment on his page. Right?
Al Jones ENT. Let's do it. Well, we greatly appreciate it.
Of course. All right. Take care. Bye.